Hello, everyone. Welcome to another match of Littlewargame. Today, I am bringing you a um, pretty fun game, I think, played on Ravaged AA4. Um, yours truly, am Neagat, and I'm playing the blue pieces on the bottom right-hand side of the map, and then my opponent is WeirdRat, playing the red pieces in the top left corner of the map. Very excited to cast this game. Before we get too deep into it, a couple things I wanted to say, basically service announcements or something of this regard. But I haven't been able to post over the past, I think, week, and that's simply because I'm a college student and I just got finished with um, with midterms here, so had to spend a lot of time studying, getting ready for tests, doing homework and such like that. But my goal, like I've said before, is to post daily videos. So hopefully I can get back on the train for that and get back on my daily routine of casting videos, because this for me is a lot of fun. Like I have so much fun um, casting these videos and learning from them, and I really get a lot of joy from that. So I'll keep doing that, as well as looks like both me and my opponent are going for a standard and going for a really quick Reaper. Okay, or Raider rather. All right, so we're both going standard. We know that for now. One other thing I wanted to mention was that Hobo is not posting. He is hosting a online tournament, and that is coming up real soon here. So if you're interested in playing Littlewargame competitively, I don't think there is any prize pool at this point, and I don't expect that to happen. Littlewargame isn't too large of a game, but it is really fun. But I know that's one of the things I've always been really interested in, um, having a tournament play. So I'll post a link in the description for where that tournament is. All right, a little bit of Raider Micro. So this is probably my. I laugh because I felt like I microed this Raider just absolutely perfect for what I needed to do. Let's go ahead and take a look at the APM. So right. So and then this happens, of course. Um, Miss microing of the Raider. But essentially, my game plan for going against this Raider is to take these two hits, to blink back, to go attack him again, and then I believe I should have priority, right? So that microing that I keep doing is all just to get me priority when I'm doing my attacks. Looks like he's going for an additional Raider, which is a little bit. I don't know if it's greedy. It's probably safer, and thus he can't start getting a very strong economic advantage too quickly. Whereas for me, I'm just going for that one Raider and then an Archer at home to be extremely, extremely defensive. He goes for this blink. I blink twice. Oh, don't go back. Go forward. And like I said, this Archer is already out. So if this Raider wants to come in and start doing some harassment, I can pull these workers, and then I can take care of things that way, which is exactly what I want to do. So it leaves his Raider there. I'm going for 2 barracks, while my opponent is also going for 2 barracks, going into Archer play, and then pulling and transferring his workers. I've transferred my workers. He's pulling his Raider over to do a little bit more scouting. Let's go ahead and take a look at production at this point, right? So at this point, I'm going for Raiders and soldiers. No, going for archers and soldiers, my bad. And then at this point, when my opponent loses his Raider, I decide to go for a very greedy option, actually, going for this third base. At the same time, I've got enough units, and he's gone for that extra raider. So he went for 3 raiders instead of like normal army, like soldier and archer. So that basically what that told me is that he's going to be behind in army at home. So I'll be able to, if I move quickly enough, I'll be able to be very aggressive and do some damage potentially. Oh, looks like I got a message from WeirdRat. Okay, so me and WeirdRat just played this game, so it looks like he went through the replay and and I'll make sure to include these army engagements and priests. So that's probably going to be a big highlight in this match. So as you can see, I have more army than my opponent has available. I see he's going for this 3rd base, which I promptly put it into. He's pulled workers, so I'm happy with that. I'll have a better economy at home, especially if he's going to sacrifice workers in order to try and stop me here. It looks like he missed micro. He's starting to attack his own archers. That is just too bad. All right, kill that. And then here I'm in a really good spot. So this is the point where I go back home. I macro up, and I'm basically going, okay, I can send my archers to do some damage to his workers. I think if I would have microed this a little bit better, I could have done a little bit more damage to him as a result. But definitely going for that 3 bases, definitely making sure that I'm economically ahead of my opponent, trying to make sure that this last worker survives, or this last archer, and as you can see, my opponent's workers is definitely chasing him down to do that. Yeah, so production, nothing too large transferring. I am floating a bit of resources, and so I hope I do put it into that real soon. That would be my goal. But I'm really happy with the fact that I was able to stop my opponent from going for this 3rd. Unfortunately, as you can see, the decisions my opponent has gone for and the decisions I've gone for are a little bit different. My opponent has gone for 2 barracks into 2 bases into tech, which is actually pretty standard, pretty strong. And what I've decided to go for is 4 barracks on 3 bases plus upgrades. And so basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to play the long game. If I am able to upgrade faster than my opponent is able to upgrade, then I should be in a good position in terms of units. However, my opponent is in a good spot right now because he's able to get solid value out of these priests. I think that's something I'd have to change in my play. Actually, I feel well. We'll watch this game, and you guys let me know in the comments what you think about it. But at this point, I'm basically trying to put on constant aggression, making sure that he gets punished for his low economy that he had earlier. Well, I'm on like 3 fully saturated bases, soon to be 4. I hope I'm pulling this worker over to make it 4. Yeah, but as you can see, maybe it wasn't such a good idea to go for upgrades because it's not until now that I start getting those upgrades going. So I think in the future I'll wait till 4 bases, then get upgrades, making sure that I get my tech on my 2nd or 3rd base. Definitely something I want to learn from this game. So constantly producing, getting my upgrades, getting my economy going. He's got a lot of soldiers here, so definitely forcing my archers a little bit back. I don't want them to be too exposed, and these soldiers can take quite a bit of damage. At this point, it should be in a good spot, though, able to produce enough army at home to be in a good spot. And, oh, my opponent. Okay, so this is interesting. My opponent, so he's been able to repel all of my advances so far. So, and we can go ahead and look at the lost. Yeah, so I've lost more army than he's lost as well. So he's really been doing a good job of repelling any kind of aggression that I'm going for. And as a result, he decides to go for this 4th base. So very good move by him. As you can see, I'm mining more, but I don't have more army than he does at this point, which is peculiar, right? Because I have this very large economy, but not a larger army, which is very interesting. Something I need to analyze in my future games for sure. I'm getting more soldiers here. The fact that he has these archers, though, is very good for him because that means he can do a lot more damage per second, DPS, compared to my soldiers that can only really tank all that. I decided to go for a 5th base, knowing that I've repelled my my opponent's army. And so, as you can see, very defensive, but very strong, like not exposed positioning. But at the same time, at this point I decided to go for tech. I kind of wish I would have reversed the orders that I went for all this, going for tech first, then upgrades. As you can see, my opponent, or actually, no, I don't think he's gone for upgrades just yet. But I will let you know when he does. At this point, I think in my play, okay, so now I'm getting 3 additional barracks, knowing that I'm on 5 bases. I should be on 7 barracks at this point. Not because I have a particular build for 7 barracks, but just because I felt like that would be a healthy amount of barracks to have at this point. My opponent does something I appreciate a lot, actually. He decides to go for a scouting/raiding force, and at the same time I was going for a move out. So multi-pronged harassment is going on. And as a result, that's gonna really start messing with my base. At the same time, I decided to do the same to a potential 4th or 5th base that he might have going on here. And then I don't think I'm quick enough to respond to this aggression here. And so my opponent is definitely going to kill a lot of my workers as a result of this harassment. So I pull my workers a little bit away from the mining. And I think I send this army a little bit down to address that problem. At this point, I see that my opponent is now is now going for his 4th base, which is why he's sending out this worker. But I abruptly stop that from occurring, and I basically put this force here to do some harassment very similar to how my opponent just harassed me at my 5th base location. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at... okay, so my opponent is now going for upgrades while I am going for my 2-2, I believe, right? Let me go ahead and look at units. So at this point, we're relatively even on workers. He's got more, obviously. Oh, well, no, I've got more, obviously, just because of the fact that from earlier in the game, I was able to interact economically. And so I see this Mages Guild, and that becomes my priority at this point. It's interesting because I made the decision to go for this Raider Guild instead of focusing his army while I was going into position. I feel like that may not have been the smartest decision at that moment to make. But essentially I'm trying to do this multi-pronged harass of sending my main army in here for him to come and fight, while I send some units over to harass and try and kill as many workers as I possibly can. I get some good positioning on some mages that he was going for, so really good value here. And I think at this point I should have probably pulled away, but once I send the soldiers in, it's much too late at that point. I think at this point I decide to go for 2 additional bases, which is an interesting decision by myself because I don't think I can defend those bases at this point. I'm about to, if I continue fighting in this engagement, I might end up losing like a large portion of my army, which I do actually. And so I should have definitely been withdrawing from this fight, regrouping with more units, and then doing a push. So this is the interesting thing, right? I've been gaining a lot more income, like 1,000 more income, like so twice as much income than my opponent has been able to all game long. But he has been getting these fantastic engages, where he's always been there to set up his priests. He's always been there to set up better engages, and that's been really good by my opponent to try and do. So really well played by him. Really well played by him, I'd say. Yeah, and especially as you can see, I don't have all my army grouped up, so I'm basically, he's doing something called defeat in detail or victory in detail, where he's able to defeat smaller units, smaller portions of my larger army, and thus dealing a lot of damage. He's also gone for invisible units, so that's going to do a lot of damage that I don't see coming, which is good for him, very good for him. And so I don't notice this until much later on. But as you can see, I've got a lot of bases, and my opponent has a lot of good army, like a really decent army. I think at this point I should have gotten an advanced workshop and potentially gotten some detection that way, especially once I saw the early priests. But it was much too late for that at this point in the game. I'm going to go ahead and speed things up a little bit more. This is where I first discover that he's got invis going on. And I think he's, if I remember correctly, I believe he's really able to finish off the game from this point. As you can see, he's assembling a much better army. I'm having to pull workers to try and be efficient here, or effective at all, really. And then I see this army. I believe he's able to win off this push. So, or maybe not. Yes, he sees my castles. So this is interesting, right? So I mentioned this a little bit earlier, where I said I have a lot of economy, but I'm not able to defend it, and that was a result of me losing so much of my army before engages. Again, I was being very aggressive early on too, so I never really got to clump up my army and go for like one really large push. And my opponent was able to go for some really good tech in the form of priests, and now in the form of mages. So very well played by him. Let's go ahead and look at this engagement here. Slow things down just a little bit. The fact that he's got so many archers really makes it so that all my soldiers that are going forward just get absolutely harassed and destroyed by his archers. So very well played by my opponent there. I had a lot of fun actually playing this game. WeirdRat is one of those players that's been playing longer than I have. So the fact that I was able to give him a challenge at the beginning of the game was really satisfying for me. Pulling workers, trying to get ahead of this. But as you can see, my opponent just has so many archers in my main base that he'll be able to destroy everything really quickly. Even going for this harassment. Even going for this harassment here, and as well as, I wonder where are his? Oh, even going for his upgrades was really strong. All right, guys. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I try to make daily content every single day, so I will try and bring more of that every single day. Hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.